Hi and welcome to Easy Tutoring. Today we're going to cover how to find all of the possible rational zeros of a polynomial. So suppose we are given 9x to the sixth minus 5x cubed plus 27. So when you're finding the possible zeros, all you need to look at is your leading coefficient, and our leading coefficient over here is 9. And you also need to look at the last constant that you have, the one with no x, and the last number over here is positive 27. So these are the two numbers that we need to look at. So the 27 is going to be our p-value, that's what we call it, p. And our 9, our leading coefficient, is going to be our q-value. So what do these p's and q's mean? Well, your possible zeros are plus or minus p over q. Now your p over q, these are all your divisors of 27 and 9. So here's what I mean by that. And by the way, every single number that you will choose is going to be plus or minus. So we put p in the numerator, which means we put all of the divisors of 27 in the numerator. So what goes into 27? We have plus or minus 1, that goes into 27. We have plus or minus 3, that goes into 27, plus or minus 9, and plus or minus 27. And we put this all over the divisors of q, which is 9. So we have plus or minus 1, plus or minus 3, and plus or minus 9. All of these numbers go into 9. All right, so now what you have to do is you have to write out all of your different combinations. So you have to write plus or minus 1 over every single one of these, plus or minus 3 over every single one of these, and so on and so forth. And those will be all of your possible zeros. So let's go ahead and start writing them out. Plus or minus 1 over plus or minus 1 is just plus or minus 1. Plus or minus 1 over plus or minus 3 is plus or minus 1 over 3. Plus or minus 1 over plus or minus 9 equals plus or minus 1 over 9. Plus or minus 3 over, I'm going to stop saying plus or minus, 3 over 1. That gives us plus or minus 3 over 1, which is just the same thing as saying 3. And then 3 over 3 is just 1. And we already wrote plus or minus 1. And another thing, 3 over 9 is really the same as 1 over 3. And we already wrote 1 over 3 right here. So when you do these combinations, you need to make sure that you're not rewriting some of your zeros, because that will just make your life harder. So 9 over 1, that one we have not written down, plus or minus 9. However, 9 over 3 is just 3. We already wrote that. 9 over 9 is just 1. We already wrote that. All right, heading off towards the 27. 27 over 1, plus or minus 27. 27 over 3 is 9. We already wrote that. 27 over 9 is 3. We already wrote that. So this is going to be all of your possible zeros that can make this function, this polynomial, 0. So that is how you find them using the p over q method. Once you have found these, depending on what your question asks, you may have to do synthetic division to either factor it or find all of the zeros. So that would involve pretty much just testing the positive and negative of every one of these numbers until you find your 0. Alright guys, if you ever want ACT or SAT help, be sure to visit my website, www.e-ztutoring.com. Thank you guys, have a good day.